I survived 100 days in realistic hardcore Minecraft. In this video I'm going to be taking on the task of surviving in a more realistified Minecraft world. This means there's going to be more animals, better trees, and some fun things to find out along the way. Day 1 I spawned in and was instantly greeted by some butterflies. I was also given a book which explained about how to capture and tame animals. I then started on my journey, mined some trees which had a really cool falling animation. Then I found an apple tree of which I nicked all the apples for some food. I then acquired some stone tools to help me along the way. I killed the rat for some food and then I found a village. In the village there was a tiger just chilling with the crops, so I just left them be. I took all their bookshelves, harvested their potatoes, and went mining for some armor. While in the mines, I actually discovered a zombie spawner, which was quite cool. In the chests, I managed to find a golden apple, which was really good because it would help me out if I was ever close to dying in the series. Now, by the end of day 2, I'd actually found a good location to set up camp for now. So I placed down some chests and went out to search for some spiders. I needed to kill these spiders to get some wool to make a bed so that I could sleep through the nights. So by the end of day 2, I had a bed. Start of day 3, I was able to make a full set of iron using all of the iron I had got from the previous mining trips. I also went out and explored for a little bit to see what I could find. Day 4, I started work on a farm as I need lots of food for this hardcore series. And by the end of the day, I had a full farm up and going, and I looked into making a tranquilizer gun so I could get some animals. Day 5, I started work on my house, making some wooden pillars and getting the actual structure in. On day 6, I made a tranquilizer gun because I was hoping for this series to actually make a zoo, which was my goal. I also started work on a mine which would get me all of the resources I'd need. This carried on until day 8. Throughout day 9 and 10, I went back up and I sorted out some chests and farmed up all the crops. Then, at the end of day 10, I managed to craft a chair and place it outside my house where I looked over my world. On day 11 and 12, I went back into the mines to find some more ores. And on day 12, I managed to find my first vein of diamonds. Day 13, I spent working on my house. I used the chisel tool mod to actually make some cooler blocks to use on my build. I used lots of different styles of wood and stone on this build, just to get some different textures in. I added some flowers at the front of the house as well, just to make it look a bit better. And on day 15, I made a bamboo farm. On day 16, I started work on a path from my house, just for a way to get down. And day 17, I started work on the roof. By day 18, I had finished the roof, and now I was just working on a path using some trodden stone, which looked kinda cool as a path block. By day 19, the house was pretty much done. I'd added a bin in and a lamppost just to lighten up the place, as well as adding lots of flowers onto the build just to make it look nicer. Then I also added some lamps inside to lighten up the place. During these 100 days, since there's so many animals around in this mod pack, I actually decided I'd make exhibits for as many of these animals as I could. So on day 20, I started work on my first exhibit. Around my house, I'd seen lots of Komodo dragons, so that gave me the inspiration to make this first exhibit for a Komodo dragon. As the main block I was using for these exhibits was marble, I went back into the mines and mined for a bit just to get lots of marble stored up so that I can make a lot more exhibits. Once I'd finished the wall of the exhibit, I added some iron bars which I chiseled to make it look more like an actual fence going around the exhibit. Then I got my tranquilizer gun, made some tranquilizer darts, and actually picked up some Komodo dragons using a net. I then placed them inside the exhibit quite easily. I then did this quite a few times after, as there was tons of Komodo dragons nearby my house. After quite a while, I managed to get around 5 Komodo dragons into this exhibit. On day 28, I carried on with this trodden path style, going all the way down the cliff face and past the actual exhibit itself. Now I saw these Komodo dragons climbing on the trees, which I thought was really cool, as they can move around the exhibit freely. Now I carried on this path all the way around and looping round in a circle down to the bottom of the cliff. On day 31, I decided to make my second exhibit of this world. Now I knew what I was doing with this exhibit. I kind of just did what I did before, made the walls up and placed the iron bars down. After a couple days, I just about managed to finish the second exhibit, and for this exhibit I wanted to actually put in some platypi, I think that's what it's called. But yeah, there was actually a squirrel that was already inside this exhibit, so I just left him in there. But yeah, he was pretty cool. And at the end of day 32, I went out for another explore to see what I could find. On day 33, I found a platypus that I could put into my actual exhibit, and I netted him up and placed him right inside. And he looked very cute, I must say. Also, I could give a carrot to the squirrel, which looked kind of cool. He was just nibbling away on that carrot. On day 33, I started work on a lot larger exhibit. This one was going to be for some giraffes, so I had to make this one a lot larger, so I actually made the exhibit looping around the path that I had made. I made this out of marble again, as I thought it was quite a cool block to use. And by the end of day 33, I headed back into the mines. Now, this was going to be one of my largest mining trips, as I wanted to get as many diamonds as I can. Now, I actually managed to find a mine shaft, which was pretty cool, because I'd be able to get lots of string in here and use that for wool, as I need it for various things for actually the enrichment of the animals. Now, I also found some diamonds on day 39, which is pretty cool, as diamonds are a lot rarer on this world. And on day 40, I made my way back up to the surface. On day 41, I went out again and actually mined a crap ton of trees, as I wanted to move my storage area upstairs of my house, so I just grabbed as much wood as I could, as I need it for other things as well. And on day 44, I moved all of my chests upstairs and just moved everything that I had up there. On day 45, I carried on with the path around the giraffe exhibit and built it up with marble and the trodden stone. Day 46, I just carried on doing this, as it used up a lot of materials and it took quite a while to do. I also made a waterfall as like a feature in here, just for the giraffes to drink from, and I made lots of areas with leaves where they could just eat from. On day 47, I started to make a bridge over this lake type thing so that the giraffes couldn't actually get out this way. Now, between day 47 and day 50, I went out with my tranquilizer gun and actually captured a lot of giraffes to put inside the pen. I managed to capture around 8 giraffes and put them all in, and it made the exhibit come to life. Now, all I needed to do was to finish off the bridge and add some foliage all around. Now, I added some of these cool hanging basketball things for them to play around with, and a lot of leaves around the area just so that they could have food. Day 52, I decided it was time for me to go into the Nether, so I grabbed some obsidian and made the portal. And after a day or so, I had actually found a Nether fortress. Now, I wanted to come here to actually be able to get Wither Skulls to defeat the Wither. Now, I know this was going to take a long time, so I was prepared to wait out the grind. Now, I also looted this Nether fortress, grabbing all the Nether wart, soul sand, and looting all the chests. Now, I turned off my shader packs here as it was quite glitchy in the Nether, so I just used the normal Minecraft textures. I killed a crap ton of withers, taking me all the way to day 60, just killing withers. Now, I made sort of like an area just to kill the withers as well, so it'd be easier. And on day 57 was when I got my first wither skull. Now, I'd probably killed around 30 withers at this point, but you know, it was good enough. Like 5 minutes later, I managed to get another one as well, so I had all the luck on my side at that point. Here I had a near miss of almost dying. Luckily, the wither skeleton itself actually managed to save me, because I would have been shot by the skeleton here and actually died. Here's where I got my last skull. The quality's a bit bad as I wasn't recording and I had to clip it. But yeah, that's me getting the last one. So now it was time to take on the wither on day 61. So I crafted up some gapples and got prepared. So I got an enchantment table set up on day 62. And I also crafted what's called a traveler's backpack, which is really handy, as you can put it on your back and actually have a lot more inventory space, as well as a crafting table on you and a place to store water, which is very cool. On day 63 was when I was placing the wither. This was going to be the toughest thing I challenged so far on this 100 days challenge. So I placed down the skulls and got ready to kill him. Now I was hoping just to go in with the bow and do as much damage as I could with the bow here. The wither did a crap ton of damage with the wither 2 effect, so I had to eat quite a few golden apples through this. But I was doing alright, he was taking quite a lot of damage. And I just kept using the bow over and over again. See how much damage I could do. Now he was doing a lot of damage and I wasn't actually doing quite a lot of damage to him, so I went back up, grabbed some more arrows and went back down. But by this time he'd fully regened his health, which I didn't know they actually did. But yeah. Now I tried to get behind him, but he did a lot of damage here and I almost ended up dying, which was like the closest I'd ever been to dying on this world. I got quite low, but luckily I had a lot of gapples to help heal me back up. So I decided it was time to enchant my gear, as the wither was doing way too much damage for my liking. So I went back out, tried to kill him, put some obsidian down, but he just melted straight through it. And yeah, I was not doing any damage to this wither. I was clearly very unprepared. I thought I'd be able to kill him with what I had, but he was very OP, and he almost killed me for the second time here. And at this point I decided it was time just to leave him until I got a lot more prepared. So I decided, since I can't kill him, I might as well make him a resident at this zoo. I got a rename tag, named it Willy the Wither, and actually placed it on the wither since I couldn't kill him, you know, rather make him part of the zoo. So he'd now forever be part of the zoo. But just in case he ever managed to get out of that hole, I went, traded with some villagers just to get some extra arrows. And since he was still in my mine, I actually had to go out and make another new mine, as if I went down there, he'd probably follow me back out of the mine and end up destroying the whole zoo. So I made this mine just to get more rules, just to be a lot more prepared if I ever did have to take on Willy again. So I did this for a few days, mining down to diamond level, and by day 70 I finished the way down and actually done some mining in this new mining area. So this is what the zoo looked like on day 72. It was actually all coming together. I put down the bamboo fences and just prettied up the place with lots of different foliage and stuff like that. Yeah, it was looking really cool. And this is just a view from all the way down, looping back round. And the giraffe's head stuck out, which I thought was really cool. And yeah, the place was looking great at this point. On day 73, I wanted to make another exhibit, and this time I remembered when I'd seen that tiger from day 1, and I actually wanted to make an exhibit for that tiger. Now, I went over to the right side of my house this time and started laying out a marble design for a new exhibit. Then I went back down into the giraffe sanctuary and actually started bone milling the place to make it look a lot nicer. I also added in a lot of coarse dirt to make it look like some of the place had been trampled by the giraffes and make it look like the place was being used. Then when I went back to my base on day 76, I noticed that the wither was actually getting closer to my base on the actual stairs, so I went back into the mines, grabbed some more ores, tried to get some diamonds. Unfortunately I didn't manage to get any diamonds, but I managed to get a lot of iron and stuff like that on day 80. So on day 82 I went back down into the mines So I just fired a few shots at him so that I could get his attention and bring him down. But as always, he was doing so much damage, so I had to hide for a little bit to wait for my health to regen. Yeah, I blocked off some of the tunnels so there was at least one line of defense here so that the Wither can instantly get back up to the surface. And here I was just luring the Wither down. While luring him down, he was firing a lot of heads at me, but luckily none of them were hitting. I was just dodging and weaving all of them. And after a while, I brought him all the way down to diamond level. And at this point, I'd done a lot of damage just from luring him down, so I decided it was time to actually kill the Wither. So after a few swings of the sword and going back and forth so he couldn't hit me, he was getting very low. And by the end of day 82, I just about killed him. And I managed to kill the Wither on day 82. Unfortunately though, that was one of the zoo residents, so he will be missed. So I made a grave for Willy and made it so that the beacon shone up into the sky in memory of him. Now between day 84 and 90, my OBS actually stopped working for a bit, but between then I actually built up the tiger sanctuary and actually made it look quite nice. I made a few adjustments, added some logs in, added some ropes in so that the tiger could actually, you know, have some enrichment in there, and it was looking good so far. And I also made exhibit glass for the giraffes, which looked kind of cool, so you could just look in without them actually being able to get out, and I thought that looked really good for the actual exhibit there. On day 93 I went out to get some spruce wood, as I wanted that to carry on making the tiger sanctuary, and I chopped down a crap ton of trees there. And when I get back on day 94, I started adjusting the tiger sanctuary to my liking, adding in some spruce fences and shoveling the pathways. Then by the end of day 94 it was complete. It was looking great, and I thought I'd done a good job. On day 95 I went out to search for the tiger that I'd seen on day 1 in the village. Now after a whole day of searching, I actually managed to find him underground, so I snagged him with a net and went back to the sanctuary. And when I placed him down, I think he fit in really well with this exhibit. On day 97 I added in some benches just to look over the actual tiger area. Day 98 I actually wanted to make a place where you could look over the actual zoo itself. So I made a bit going up to the top of this hill, which was looking good. And I also added in some enrichment for the tiger, so I added in one of those scratching things. And I also, in each of the pen, I added a barrel, and I filled it with all of the things needed to feed all the animals. So in the giraffe one I added in some leaves, and in the tiger one I added in some raw meat. And finally day 100 came, and I looked over my zoo in all of its glory, and I thought I'd done a good job. So if you did enjoy this video, please like, subscribe, that'd be amazing, and see you in the next one. Peace.